Some have described this game as Vampire Survivors meets Rick and Morty, so I just had to check it out, and I spent about 9 hours on this nonsense. That got me to the end of the last map. Runs are 10 to 15 minutes, you can pause in the middle of one and it saves itself. Which sounds like a game built for a parent evening. What I cannot work out is whether it relaxes you or winds you up. Parent review and the full checklist at the end, so you'll know if it fits your evening. The developer provided a free review copy of the game. They have no say in the content and nothing gets checked before this goes up. An honest parent review, written by a parent or parents. What is Ground Zero Hero? Ground Zero Hero is a bullet heaven, which is the label the publisher Acclaim uses. In a bullet hell, you are dodging a wall of enemy fire. In a bullet heaven, you are the one filling the screen, and what you dodge is the enemies themselves. You're a small mutant in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. You kill the mutated wildlife, you absorb their radioactive guts, you mutate into something stronger, and you eat a lot of candy, which comes out of piñatas that turn up mid-run. If you have played Vampire Survivors, you know the genre this is. If you have not, the loop is simple. You pick a map, you move, the game does the shooting. Enemies come in waves. You kill them, you absorb what they drop, and every level up hands you a choice of 3 mutations. Stack those for 10 or 15 minutes until the map ends or you die. Then spend what you earned and go again. It is made by one person. Rowan Edmondson wrote the code, drew the animation, and did the music himself. He found Vampire Survivors before it took off and thought he could put his own spin on it. The spin is the art and the comedy. Hand-drawn cartoon, somewhere between The Simpsons and Rick and Morty. And the jokes are in the game rather than only in the marketing. One of the bullet points on the official feature list is about giving birth to a man in a chicken suit. Nobody's asking you to take the wasteland seriously, and I mean that as a compliment. The art does a practical job too. Everything stays readable. You can tell what is an enemy, what is a pickup, and what is about to hurt you, even when the screen is completely full. That clarity is the main reason I would hand this to somebody who has never played one of these before. There are 5 maps, each one unlocking after you clear the last. 19 mutations. Most mutations has what the game calls a bonkers form, which you unlock by using that ability enough. After that, it fires on roughly a 1 to 1.5% chance, and you get a few seconds of a supercharged version or one enormous hit. Upgrades raise that chance, and chasing it is a decent reason to keep using an ability you might otherwise swap out. 19 is not a huge number, and that cuts both ways. With 3 options offered per level up, a smaller pool means you see the ones you like more often and can steer a run toward the build you want. It also means you will have seen most of the abilities that the game has to offer a few hours in. The enemies are balanced well. Each map has its own set. The harder ones start showing up later in a run, and the mix holds up. A lot of low health chaff plus bigger enemies that soak more damage and drop larger mutation balls when they go down. Runs themselves feel fairly similar to each other, which sounds like a criticism and is not one. The learning curve is short and you're not relearning the game every time you sit down to play it. Where the run does change is the day and night cycle. Days are your ordinary enemies. When the night falls, the night creatures come out, things like vampires and werewolves and devils, and they hit considerably harder. You get a choice at that point. Most maps have bunkers, and entering one heals you a little and flips the clock back to day. The game will point you toward a nearby bunker on screen when the night starts. The catch is what it costs you. Everything you left on the ground gets wiped, including all the mutation goo you had not picked up yet, and the horde chasing you clears out with it. You're trading progress for safety. Stay up through the night instead, and the night creatures drop the higher tier goo at much better rate. Kill your way through them, and you gather all of that plus everything the day left behind, and your mutations level far faster. I used bunkers early while I was learning the maps, and stopped once I could survive without them. Bunkers also have save and exit in them, which I will come back to. For healing, there are mushrooms scattered around that give you a brief hallucination when you eat them. Piñatas sometimes drop pizza and other food, but that is rare, so the mushrooms are the reliable option for healing. Every map also has something you can ride. A cow turns up on several of them, and elsewhere you get lizards, a space scooter, and a few others. You climb on, you're invulnerable for a few seconds, and you drive straight through a horde instead of around. Caps are the currency for permanent upgrades, and there are 2 ways to earn them beyond just surviving. Each map has a handful of missions, specific rather than vague, so every run has a reason beyond staying alive. There are also safes scattered around that pay out when you crack them, and one of the abilities cracks them faster. The last map takes most of that away. No bunkers, no mushrooms, and no safes. It is the one place the game stops helping you. Boss fights are where the difficulty does flatten out. The first one on a map might take 2 or 3 goes while you work out what it does. After that, and after a few more upgrades, reaching the boss is the harder part of the run. On Steam Deck, Valve has this listed as unknown, which is what happens when a review goes up before the game is out and nobody has rated it yet. I ran it on mine and it worked well. So that is what Ground Zero Hero is. The part I did not expect to spend time thinking about is what it does to your head at the end of a long day. Ground Zero Hero for parent gamers. The only input in this game is movement. You do not aim. You're not managing a build in any deep sense. You pick one of the 3 things when it offers and you keep moving. Some nights that is the whole appeal. Your kids are down, you have got an hour, and you do not have another decision left in you. A game that wants you to remember a skill tree or plan 4 moves ahead is not happening on that night. This one wants you to move, and that is a low enough bar to clear when you're running on not enough hours of sleep. One thing I want to ask you, when you are properly tired, do you go for a game that asks nothing of you, or do you go for something with a little more to think about? Put it in the comments. And hit subscribe if you want to see more content like this. The hordes are not relaxing though. When the screen fills and you are threading a gap that keeps closing, that is tension. And tension is not what everyone wants at 11 at night. If you already know that busy screens do that to you, this is not going to be the exception. Then there is the grind. The first 2 maps go down without too much trouble. After that, the difficulty steps up and you need upgrades to keep pace, which means caps, which means more runs. I spent a chunk of mine going back to earlier maps to clear missions there because the easier ground made the caps quicker to earn. That could have been miserable. It mostly is not. And the missions and saves are the reason. You're not grinding in the abstract. You're going in to do a named thing and a failed run costs you 10 minutes. Back to that save and exit in the bunkers. A lot of games in this genre make you finish a run or throw it away. But the option is there on the nights when something upstairs needs you. The exception is the last map which has no bunkers, so a run there is finish it or lose it. And coming back after a break is easy. There's nothing to hold in your head between sessions. No build orders, no half-finished plan to reconstruct. Your upgrades are both, the maps are where you left them, and it plays the same as it did the last time. On volume, the game works fine quietly. Nothing important is audio only and you can read everything you need on screen. The music can get repetitive and it might get a little bit annoying over time. Apparent review. So where does Ground Zero Hero land? Let's find out with the checklist. You can pause in the middle of a run. Real stuff, nothing ticking behind it. Saving is automatic and there is nothing for you to manage. Bunkers give you a save and exit on every map but the last. A 30 to 45 minute window gets you 2 or 3 full runs or 1 run and a clean stop. 9 hours is realistic total length. Roughly 2 weeks at 5 hours a week. Playable while tired, with the caveat that the hordes can wind you up rather than settle you. Low volume is fine. No daily login and no live service aspect. Nothing runs while you're away. One more run pull is real, because the restarts really cost you nothing. That 9 hours is my own number rather than how long to beat figure, because the game is too new to have polled data yet. It includes a grind and it got me to the end of the last map. After that there is an endless mode and a set of challenges, and I would call those optional. The game does have an endpoint and you can walk away at it. For the verdicts: parent fit, strong. It pauses mid-run, it saves itself, you are never more than 15 minutes from a clean stop, and the whole thing is done in about 9 hours. What holds it back is that the tired answer is a maybe rather than a yes, and the grind after map 2 is a real ask on the nights when you only get one run in. Game verdict: great. Not because it does anything new with the formula. It does not. What it does is stay readable when the screen is full, which is the thing I kept noticing across all 9 hours. The bonkers procs are funny. The enemy types are pitched at a level you can keep track of, and one person built all of it. Not essential though. The mutation pool runs shallow before the game does, and the soundtrack gives up long before you do. If you've never played one of these, the obvious question is why start here rather than with Vampire Survivors, which sits at $5 with years of updates behind it. I do not have a confirmed price for Ground Zero Hero as I record this, so I'm not going to tell you which is better value. Check the store page and weigh it yourself. But what I can tell you is what you get for it. A new setting, art that stays readable when the screen fills up, and an ending at around 9 hours. There is also a demo available on Steam. It covers the first map and your progress carries into the full game, so you can find out whether the game and genre suits you without spending anything at all. Ground Hero Zero is out now on Steam, PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. If 9 hours of somebody else's time saved you a decision, a like helps a lot, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.